everybody, welcome back to the Yanek Show, episode 41. Hello mate, yes, how you doing? Have a seat, enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you're having a great week. I hope that you're smashing it and that you're doing great. Yes, great success for everybody. Listen mate, I have so much stuff to talk about in this episode because this is kind of like part 2 of the previous episode, continuation. I don't even know if that's a word. Right before I started recording, I come up with that word and I was like, oh, that sounds a bit intelligent, isn't it? So I'm going to say it, continuation. I don't even know if that's a real word, but if it is, I'll put a picture here with the little description of what it is, the little meaning and that type of stuff. Okay. So in the previous episode, if you haven't seen it, I did a comedy show in a gay bar, and after I finished, right before I left the venue, it turns out that in the audience there was a few organizers who put up these drag comedy shows, variety nights around Liverpool, and they said we like your work and you're really funny and you're very camp and like crazy and wild on stage, and are you interested in hosting, emceeing one of our nights, upcoming nights? And I was like, yeah, of course. And let me tell you, mate, so pretty much I did the gig a few days ago. So in this episode, I'm going to tell you about the craziest gig I've ever had in my life so far, because this evening was absolutely explosive madness and I had no idea what was I getting myself into. It was crazy. It was so much fun. It was outstanding, honestly. And also, before I start, I managed to record and do an episode of my brand new series, Life of a Stand-Up Comedian. Thank you so much for those of you who tuned in into the first 2 episodes. You're gonna get an episode every Sunday at 12 o'clock. So make sure you subscribe to the channel because it's only on YouTube. I'm not going to post it anywhere on my social media. And you actually have footage from me performing and a bit of clips and pictures and all that type of stuff from the venue. And it's like an 8-9 minute clip, and there is quite a lot of material, as much as I can, because there was like some music and stuff and I couldn't post it. I filmed, but I couldn't post it because of copyright issues with YouTube. They're gonna take it down. So I posted some other stuff, but there's, a lot of material. Mate, what the hell? Okay, listen, so I'm a huge fan of RuPaul Drag Race. I love it. I've mentioned it so many times on the show, and I've never actually seen a drag show. We went only one time to look for drag queens for drag queen show during Pride Month with some mates, but it was just like a bar, and there was like a drag queen in the background. She was just talking over the DJ from time to time, and everybody just drinking, dancing or whatever. So it wasn't like a proper show. So I was like, it was like one of the things on my bucket list. I've always wanted to see one in person, and being a part of it, emceeing it was 1,000 times better. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you the whole story, what happened and all the craziness. Okay, so I'm going for the gig, right? And to be honest with you, I had a bit of information what they wanted from me, but I wasn't really sure. Like, I didn't have all the details. And, mate, I was nervous as fuck, you know what I mean? And it's a Saturday night, and, Saturday night is like main event night. And I was nervous, not so much about how I'm going to perform, but because I didn't really know, you know what I mean? Like, how the night operates, and I've never done anything like this before. So I go there and I found out that they want me pretty much to do 10 minutes on top, at the beginning, and then between every act I need to do 3 to 4 to 5 minutes, because the acts, they need to, change outfits, get ready and all that type of stuff, because it's a lot of showmanship, what I'm saying, in a drag queen show, than compared to a regular comedy where, you just go up, like, I don't change outfits when I go to a club or to a comedy gig, you know what I mean? But that's not the case with drag queens. They have outfits and they change wardrobe on stage sometimes. It's very, very, it's crazy. It's insane. And I was a bit nervous. So I get in the bus, right? And I was like, fucking hell, man. Like, because I don't know what's going to happen. So I arrived there, and I'm always nervous before gigs, you know what I mean? And that's the fun part. Because when you're nervous before okay, for me, when I feel tension, in my belly, and I'm just like, oh, and, and I try to stretch or to walk around to relieve a bit of tension, but I'm very tense. So that means when I go on stage, I can, poof, like fireworks, I can explode, you know what I mean? And that's what, and then, when it goes well, you feel relief, you feel happy, and it's good. Because if you don't feel the tension and if you don't feel nervous, I had maybe like 2 cases where I didn't feel nervous, and the reason was because I was working in the morning, and it was like a very crazy long day and traveling and all that stuff. So by the time I was there, I was just physically so tired that I was kind of like, I don't know. I just cannot be nervous right now. I don't have the physical energy to be nervous because I was shattered. You know what I mean? And I went on stage. It went okay. It went good. But I wasn't like, when I finished, I was so tired. So I didn't feel nice about doing it well, whatever. So when you feel nervous, for me, it feels amazing. Because I go and poof, and they call me the pocket rocket. You know what I mean? I have a few nicknames now, and I'm the pocket rocket. Woo! And yeah, so anyway, so I go there, and it's raining. It's Liverpool, and now it's was it October or whatever. So it's always raining. I go there, and I'm nervous, man. And the thing is, I've been to a gay bar once or two times, with my mates and stuff, but this is not usually the place that I go, and I don't really know what is the etiquette. You know what I mean? Like, because I say a lot of stupid shit all the time, and I don't want to offend people. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to make any jokes. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm just here to do a good job, and you know what I mean? So I go to the bar, and they had like the little, that little velvety thing that you remove to let the people in. And I see there's three drag queens, and I can see them from far away because they're literally like, you can see that they're tall guys. You know what I mean? They're at least 6'2", 6'3", or whatever, just tall guys, and they have like these massive high heels and massive wigs, so they're literally 7 feet or whatever. You know what I mean? So I see these giant humans from far away, and and I love drag queens. They're very spectacular, and. So I see the three drag queens, and there's like some other people before that, and they're like, oh, hold on, they're looking for their tickets or whatever, and I'm a bit nervous. And and I just said, my voice kind of cracked, and I just said, oh yeah, hi, when my turn came, and I said, yeah, so oh, excuse me, so there's supposed to be a comedy night here, I'm the MC, but my voice kind of cracked, and they look, because there were three, and there were two up front, and they didn't know me, so they were kind of like, wow, really, I don't know what, and it turns out it's not a comedy night. I'm fucking stupid, like, because I don't know. I thought it was a comedy night, and the comedians are drag queens. You know what I mean? I'm so stupid, and I had no idea. And one of the drag queens was actually one of the guys in the club that I did a few nights before that saw me. You know what I mean? And he said to me like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I know, I saw you in the club the other night." And he said, "It's me, so and so." And I was like, I couldn't, mate. It looked like a different human being. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't recognize him. I was like, hold on, is that you? Like, he had like a long, was it blue hair, and like all dressed up as a girl and whatever. And I was like, oh my god, I can now recognize you. Anyway, so we sit down, and I found like a booth or whatever where we're gonna sit. I leave all my stuff, and we prepare, and all the drag queens are coming in and all that stuff. There was like 6 or 7. There was like a long lineup, and they explained to me what I need to do. You do 10 minutes at the top, and there are a few minutes of stand up between each act. And I was like, fucking hell, there's a lot of acts. And I was like, so if I do 10 at the top, we had like 5 break. That's like 15 minutes as well. And I was like, no, so there's like 5. That's 20. That's 35 to 40 minutes on stage. And I was like, fucking hell, that's a lot of stand up. And I was like, I'm just trying to figure out, because I have longer bits, I have shorter bits, and I'm like, damn, because before that I thought I was told on the night when I met them, they just need 4 intervals of 5 minutes, and that's it. And I kind of structure it. I even wrote like a bit about RuPaul Drag Race, exclusive bit that I wrote a few days ago, which I think is very funny, but I didn't, I've never done it before. So I was like, I'm gonna do that as well when I go the second time on stage. But things didn't work out the way I thought they were going to work out. Hold on. Okay. I always check if this thing is recording. I have this fear that is now recording. And because people need to hear the smart things that I'm saying. And anyway, so the stage is like this cube, like pretty big, and it's elevated, and it's right in front of the bar. And it was good because people were seated with tables. It wasn't like a nightclub where people just dancing and you're in the background shouting at at whatever. So I was like, okay, it's like a proper show. And they announce me. I go on stage. I wear my crazy shirt from the other episode, with the black one with the leaves. and they announced me. I go on stage like, "Woo, hello everybody." Nobody knew me because they said my name, Mike Yanek. There's literally like two people like, hey, nobody's clapping. And I was like, hello everybody. I did like a little joke. It went okay. But the thing is, the bar was so loud, and this is I approached this as a stand-up comedian. You know what I mean? I went with the mindset of like, oh, I'm just going to do joke, 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 bit, bit, bit. You know what I mean? Because this is what I'm used to. I've done around 80 gigs so far, and I've never done a venue like that. So when I go to a comedy club or comedy venue, I know what to expect, right? So I go in there and I'm like, okay, I know what to do. So I do like a few minutes, but the bar is super loud, like, because they're making coffee, they're making drinks, they're talking to each other. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh, okay, that's unexpected. Then there's like lights, the disco lights, they're on like half of the time. And you know what I mean? You have like lights in your eyes and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? And I'm literally only two tables. Like, the place was pretty full. Only two tables are kind of listening. There was two guys at one of the tables. They really liked the material. We even took pictures after the show with them. They loved it. They were listening. But everybody else, some people were like just talking. There was table service, meaning that the staff, the bar staff members were going around the tables, to serve people. So you literally have people walking around all the time, tables, maybe, yeah, can I have a whiskey or whatever? Like, yeah, just give me a second. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, man. So I'm going to do about 8 minutes, 9 minutes or whatever. And then I'll start explaining how the night is going to work and introduce the act. And they said around 10 minutes. And I was like, fair enough. So I'm doing my bit. I did 3 bits, I did about 6 or 7 minutes of just bits, joke. But the thing is, like, it went okay, but I went with the mindset I'm a comedian, so I didn't get the reaction I expected, because these are bits that I've done so many times, and I know the timing and all the punchlines, I know how to work the crowd with them. But that's not a comedy show, you know what I mean? But I'm now realizing that the first 5 or 6 minutes. So I was like, okay. And I did about 7 or 8. And I was like, okay, guys, so are you ready for your first act? And they're like, yay. And, they're receptive now. The energy is up. And I was like, okay. I didn't get, like, killing the crowd or whatever like you would do in a comedy venue. But I was like, okay, we're starting to work here, and I have a whole evening. I'll be there for an hour and a half. I'll be up many, many times. Okay, we kind of get to know each other. They feel a bit comfortable now with me. And I was like, are you ready for your first act? And they were like, yeah. So this is how we're going to introduce the acts. And I was thinking about this the previous night. I'm going to scream, yes. You're going to scream Queen, and then we're all going to start clapping and give as much love and support to the act, and then I'll bring on the first performer, and this thing, yes, Queen, it's a very like RuPaul Drag Race, and everybody who watches drag, it's a very like, yes, Queen, you know what I mean? So it's a very iconic line, and they loved it. They're like, yeah, okay, they seemed really into it, and I was like, okay, it's working, right? So I was like, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and I scream, yes, and then I point the microphone to the audience, and they all go, Queen, and I was thinking like, good, you know what I mean? So they have the energy now, they kind of like me, I have more time to work with them. But they are like, the energy is up, yes, good, and it's good for the performance, it's good for them, because I don't want just to be like, okay, your next performance so and so, you know what I mean? Because it's show business, baby, and so you gotta be flashy, you gotta be flamboyant, you gotta give them something, you know what I'm saying? It's show business. That's what it is, and so I screamed the first contestant, so and so. And I'm just standing there, like so and so, and I just lift my hands, because when you lift your hands, I've noticed, like, how you doing, Liverpool? And when you lift your hands, and the way I do it, I kind of do it in a silly way, a very like likable way, like I feel that people kind of, I don't know, but they're just like, hey, you know what I mean? They give you energy. It's kind of like a signal, when you lift your hands, and they're like, yay, make sound, and I'm like, so and so, and I just lift my hands, and usually music starts, you know what I mean? Because when the music starts and the drag queens, it's not like the comedy where you walk in, you go on stage, you shake the compar's hand, you get the mic, you put it down, and then you start talking. But with the drag queens, sometimes literally some of them were like pretty much backstage, and they all have a microphone, which is good. I had my own microphone, and they had their own microphone, you know what I mean? So that's very good, you know what I mean? Because you can, like when they get off stage, and sometimes if you like, it takes you a while to get, you can talk while you walk and that type of stuff. I do like that, right? And it was not with a cable, so you have free range to do whatever. And some of them literally, they were like backstage or behind the bar or like outside, and they start talking as they walking because it's part of the act. I didn't know that, because it's the first time I'm ever doing something like this. And but it was a great learning experience. Not only it was like so much fun for me personally, it's like a fun story to have, but it's like a learning experience with show business. You know what I mean? Because as you know, if you watch me or if you know me, I want to make a career in show business. So, and I want to do all type of stuff. I don't like. I would always do stand up. It's like my passion and stuff. But if I can host or be like little gigs here and there, not to take too much time off stand up. But if my calendar is empty, like it is now, because it's fucking weird for comedy now, because there are not many gigs, especially people my level. Only the top professional comedians get all the gigs now, which is fair enough. I mean, clubs and venues need to make some money, but it's kind of difficult now, for people like me. So I have time in my schedule, so when I have time, I'll go and be a guest on a podcast, and I'll like maybe do some other gigs and experiment and maybe work on the YouTube a bit more, So anyway, I didn't know that they start doing that. So I'm holding my hands, right? I'm holding my hands, and there's like 3, 4, 5 seconds of silence, and everybody's like, oh, okay, like, is this part of the act or whatever? And I just hear, because there's like a person, like the DJ, and they have a microphone as well. They're the actual like host, organizer, the people who gave me the gig. And there's like, actually she's not ready, on the microphone. And I'm just standing like this, and everybody bursted out laughing, you know what I mean? But I'm still standing like that, and I just have this look on my face like, fuck, because I'm not sure if I messed up the timing, or maybe they just didn't get ready, because they said up to around 10 minutes, and when I look at my watch, it was about, I don't know, 9 minutes, 8 minutes and 40s. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of did the time that I want to, and I gave them a bit of time, by the time they come and all that type of stuff, and I was just like, shit. And I remember, and I just looked at my watch while still holding my other hand up, and I was just like, fuck. And then I did this, and everybody's laughing so much. And I'm thinking like, it kind of got off to a weird start, but they're enjoying it. So at the end of the day, by the way, even if there's like little hiccups here and there, like to a gig, because I don't know how the drag world works, but I know the comedy work, and sometimes there's some hiccups. Maybe somebody is going to be like a bit late, or you know what I mean, something like that. If the audience is laughing and enjoying and kind of like, oh, this is funny, because or something falls off stage, or the microphone, I was at a place where the microphone stand just broke, you know what I mean, but they were laughing and they were loving it. So if they love it, it is a success, you know what I mean. It doesn't matter, as long as they're having a good time, and I'm just like, oh shit. And I was like, well, I can dance for 2 minutes, and they are laughing again, and I started dancing, and there's like some guys like, woo, so I'm screaming, and I'm just dancing like an idiot, like boop, 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 just dancing. And then they said, she's ready, that voice all of a sudden, like, she's ready, and everybody's like, yeah. And I was like, come on everybody. And then I welcomed the first competitor, I was about to say, the first performer. So she got on stage, she smashed it. By the way, all the girls that were on the bill, on the video, the night, if you want to check them out, even though I didn't put their performances in the clip, because like, I'm not, I don't know them. This is the first time I meet them. I don't have a rapport with them. Wow, if I'm gigging with another comedian, and I know him, he's me mate, he's not going to, he'd be like, yeah, whatever, put it on. But I didn't know them, so I didn't want to. I filmed a bit when they were dancing, it was very brilliant, but I didn't want to film the act and put it on. But if you want to check them out, there's like a clip of few seconds of the actual list of the evening, so you can see all the names and you can check them out. They were all brilliant, right? I'm off stage, and I know I have about 6-7 minutes, and I sat there and I was like, okay, you need to think now. If I approach this as a stand-up comedian and just be like, bit, joke, it's not going to work, okay? People are having more drinks, people getting drunk. There was like a handu, like a birthday party or whatever at the end, like these college girls or whatever, 6 or 7 of them. They're, they're loud, and when when I try to be like, yeah, and they give me so much energy. They don't want to listen, because when I was doing the stand-up, they were talking, they were screaming, they're like, taking selfies, they're talking to me as well. You know what I mean? When I'm doing my comedy, and I was like, it's not going to work, Mike, okay? And that's the thing about doing gigs that you've never done before, or going into a different venue. And then I was like, okay, so I took off my stand-up comedian hat and I put off my entertainer hat, and I was like, I'm just going to be a showman. Like, I'm going to talk to the people. I'm going to do Q&A. I found out that there's a raffle. I didn't know about that. I found out during the break there's a raffle, and I was like, oh, great. I'm great at stuff like that, just hyping up and screaming, and there's going to be prizes, okay? And I was like, also, bringing in the performers, they really enjoy that, the yes queen, that type of stuff, they love that, okay? And I'm just going to be making maybe like a few jokes at my expense, maybe banter with the bar, it's literally behind you, do like, hey, somebody wants drinks, like that type of housekeeping stuff. And kind of step back, because I kind of figured out that I'm not the center of attention here. You know what I mean? Which is weird for a comedian, because when you're on stage, everybody's quiet and they're looking at you. You are the center of attention. And we kind of programmed that way to approach it like, I have to be the funniest, I have to entertain them, keep their attention. Oh my God, if there's silence for like a few minutes and nobody laughs, I'm going to be all fucked. Which is correct when you're on comedy, doing comedy. But that was not a comedy night. And I was like, okay, so I'm just going to be the cheerleader and the background and just keeping the atmosphere going. I'm not the center of attention. The drag queens, the music, the lights, that's the center, that's the show. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I can take a step back. You know what I mean? Which is quite good, because like I approached it very like, there was no ego involved. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be like, oh, it's all about me. Even when I do comedy, I don't want it to be like, oh, me, 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 me. No, I just want to perform the best I can, and make people laugh, right? So I was like, okay. And I approached it with a different energy. And then it was the second time I went back on stage. And I went on stage and made something unbelievable happen, okay? This was so much fun and so crazy, okay? But unfortunately, I didn't manage to record it, okay? I'll tell you what happened. So I go back on stage the second time, and there was a couple. So there was two couples, like a gay guy and his best female friend, because I talked with them. We took pictures after the gig, so they told me. So the stage is here, and you have two couples on each side, and they're literally next to the stage, and they're looking up. One of the couples, the girl wore like a preposterous, like pink sweater or whatever, so ugly with fucking glitter or whatever. And the guy next to her wore like a black t-shirt with this huge skull with Swarovski or whatever, like fake obviously, but it looked hideous. So I started talking to him, and the previous drag queen had a chair on stage, and when I went up, I was just about to remove the chair, and I made like a joke. I don't know, oh yeah, the Eastern European has to clean up or something like that. A few people laughed or whatever. And I was like, hold on. And I was like, let me see. And I was like, I'm gonna leave the chair. You know what I mean? And I started talking to the guy with the ugly shirt, and I said to him, where'd you get that shirt made? Blah, 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 blah. But, he's talking to me. I can hear him, but not many people can. And I was like, you know what? Come on stage. Sit on the chair. Come over here. And he's like, what? And I was like, ladies and gentlemen. And I was like, what's your name? And I don't remember, like Mark or whatever. And I was like, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to see Mark sit down on stage so I can have a little chat with him? And they're like, yeah. They're all screaming because, like, they're into it now. So he goes up, he sits down, and we start doing a Q&A. He looked very scared. I addressed it. People laughed, and I was like, where did you get that shirt, buddy? And I was like, that shirt is hideous. I'm just busting his balls, pretty much just making fun of his shirt. And I was like, you know what? Because, they were raising money and stuff for the raffle. And I was like, you know what? We're going to auction your shirt off. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, do I have a starting price? And somebody yelled 10 pence, and I was like, 10 pence once, 10 pence twice, somebody 25 pence, 25, and I become like an auctioneer pretty much, and I was just like all over the place and yelling, and you know what I mean? And he's laughing, everybody's laughing, and everybody's loving it. And I said to him, somebody said like a quid, and I was like, a quid. And I said to him, mate, by the way, this is not a bet. You will actually have to give your shirt to the person who gives the most money. And he was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, you're going home shirtless, mate. And everybody's like, yeah, cheering, whooping, like, whoa. And I was like, yeah. And I'm thinking in my mind, this is going great, you know what I mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this as far as I can, you know what I mean? Try to somebody win the shirt, because if they keep going for an hour, push it for 4 or 5 minutes, somebody win the shirt, get the money, get the person down there, actually give the shirt, and everybody will go crazy, and then I'll introduce the next act. And when I get off stage, there's like a bucket to put the money in the bucket, right? And this is exactly what happened, right? So it's like £1, £2, and after like a few minutes of this, and I'm hyping up the energy. Do we have £2, ladies and gentlemen? And you can see them. They're like, 250, and they're getting super into it, and I'm super happy because it's going well. Everybody's loving it. Everybody's laughing. We had 10 quid, right? So there was like this guy on the side, the other couple that I talked after the gig with them as well, that they were great. So I joked with him because he looked very, very Polish, not Polish, very polished. You know what I mean? He like nice hair, like a watch, nice shirt. He looked like a rich guy. You know what I mean? He looked like he comes from money, like very, very, very dapper guy, And I was joking with him. I said, what's your name? And he tells me the name, and I was like, no, I'm going to call you Mr. Big Spender. So I kept calling him Mr. Big Spender throughout the whole show, And so yes, we auctioned off the shirt. 10 quid. He took off his shirt and everybody went fucking crazy, took the money, whatever. And I introduced the next act, like, yes, Queen, and everybody started laughing, cheering, blah, blah, blah. It was fucking insane. And I go off stage, and, I put the money in the bucket, and, everybody like, oh, that was great, blah, blah, well done. And then I'm thinking like, okay, so this is the formula, you know what I mean? So when I do more gigs like that in the future, hopefully, this is going to be the formula. Like, I have to just be the MC, not the comedian, but the entertainer, and I have to keep them engaged and talk to them. And then I went back on stage and I pretty much, just talked to them. Then I made fun of the girl, because of the ugly top. I said, where'd you get it from? And blah, blah, blah. Oh, fucking hell, I'm burping over here. Sorry. I said to the girl, where did you get that from? And I'm pointing at her top. You know what I mean? Where'd you get that top from? And she's like, EE. EE is a telephone company. And I was like, what? How much? And she tells me a price, and then she says 5G. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? No. I mean, and I'm genuinely confused. And her friend, the guy with the skull shirt, who had his shirt back, by the way, from the guy. I made a few jokes about that. He says, no, not your phone, your top. And then she was like, oh, and everybody started laughing hysterically, because I was like, I'm not asking about your phone, I'm asking about your top. I've been making fun of that, sweater the whole evening. I'm not, you know what I mean? So that was quite fun. That went well. And I just banter with them a little bit. Then we did more raffles a few more times, which was great. We did like the whole I was, do you want more prizes, Liverpool? And they all like, yeah. And I get the bucket and I choose out, like 215, 215, 215, and I start screaming. Then somebody's like, yeah. But what we did, I was like, because one of the drag queens, the organizer actually, which thank you so much for the spot. She she was giving out the prizes, and she comes on stage, and I hold the microphone, and she asked, do you want this? Because there's like variety, so you get to choose. And what I did was, instead of her going to the winner, I said to the winner, come over here, because it's going to be more fun, and they're going to be engaged, and people are going to look when she goes, or he, or whatever, and they get to choose, and I hand them over, give them the microphone, they get to choose, and they scream, and what's your name? You know what I mean? We do these little interactions, and it's more fun that way, because people are more engaged. And some of the people by that point, because it's getting late now, they were like pissed, and they were screaming and this and that and dancing, and there was like a few breaks of the drag queens dancing. And then I went on stage 2 more times, and we did pretty much like similar stuff, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Like, when we finished the gig, so I finished, and because the drag queens were from 5 to half 6, and then there was a bit more. There was like a singer, and then like a DJ or whatever, like music. It turns into a nightclub. And when I finished my part, there was like a break, like literally a break just with music, you know what I mean? People chill for like 20 minutes or half an hour. And I went, because this is how I do it, mate. When I do a gig and if there's like a break or we just finished, unless it's a comedy club where we have to meet people outside, or you know what I mean? But if it's a bar and you get to see the people and you just, there's no backstage area, I just go to the people who laugh the most and I just talk to them. How you doing, mate? Are you enjoying your evening? Did you like the show? And they're always super happy and receptive to see you, because they're like, oh, mate, you're so great. And we usually take, you give them a hug, you take some pictures. You know, now with the corona, we just give them the elbow, but we take a picture and they were like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'll give out like, oh, this is my social media, or I have a YouTube show or whatever, you know, just try to build up the fan base. And everybody was super happy with the show. And I took pictures with, I think, 6 or 7 people. I talked to the 2 couples. I talked to the couple. Oh my god, they were so funny. The guy with the skull. By the way, I didn't record the interaction with the guy when we auction off his shirt. But if you ever see this, okay, you know who you are, okay? Because I don't have your details. You, the guy, the blonde guy with the piercing here and the ugly shirt, and his friend, the girl, the Scouse girl. I think she was Scouse. The Scouse girl with the fucking hideous pink top. It was like a puffy sweater or whatever. She took a video. Because I saw her taking a video at one point. I'm not sure if she recorded everything. If you're looking at this, just contact me, okay? Find me on Facebook or drop a message, comment here. If you have the video, send me the video, because it was crazy, and I'll upload it to my Facebook, social media, and all that type of stuff, okay? But yeah, we finished, we take pictures, everybody was super happy, and it was crazy. The drag queens danced to like WAP, the WAP song. From Cardi Bacardi, that was crazy. I saw a drag queen jump from stage, like a tall, like high stage, and do like a split, you know, like a death drop or whatever on the concrete floor, and you know, like no knee pads, no nothing. I was like, bloody hell! I get to talk with 2 of the drag queens. It was great. I even took a picture with one of them, and I was just asking them. And one day when I start to have how do you call it, guests, I will try to bring you on a drag queen and I will interview her, because drag queens are amazing. And yeah, so it was very fun. Everybody liked it. I couldn't sleep all night because I don't go to nightclubs and the music was so loud, you know what I mean, just how it is. And my head was banging, and that fucking song WAP, I couldn't get that song out of my head. But it was crazy. It was absolutely insane, mate. And what I'm trying to say is, oh, okay, I need to go now. If you ever have the opportunity to go to a drag show or whatever, go. You will not regret it. You know, that's it. Thanks so much for the spot. It was great. I hope that I will do more, and I hope that I will learn how to, because you know it's a different skill set, how to host, MC, whatever it is. A drag a night. And that's it. I hope to get your drag queen soon on the show, maybe in a few months. We'll see how it goes with the lockdown. That's about it. That was the wildest, craziest gig of my life so far, and I'm very happy with it. And thank you so much for watching. Okay, this is the episode for this week. I will see you next week. Listen, every Sunday, 12 a.m. Don't forget, Life of a Stand-Up Comedian. Subscribe to this channel. Click the notification bell or whatever. I need to promote this shit, you know what I'm saying? Because it takes ages. It takes so long to put those subtitles together. You have no idea. This clip with the drag queens I've been editing for 2 days now, okay? It's finally finished and it's uploaded and it's scheduled. But check out the stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week, and hope you're having a great week, and we're going to end it again on a Yas Queen, okay? Bye!